当中新北市这些的，比如话就是，他今年来马修刚来开心样子，还得来包。所以说些当那叫我们些故事小组的其中这几个地铁，那里面别个的，那我这个这个咱们西的当，那的澳大利亚，那这个开心没忙不少哇，这个的没打什么叫忙不，我这时候来下顿去多，那没顾着工作是这些节的，我这当我这那年我是这样，我这按来当我这个操作当吃啥饭先，那下顿这个也我修主要啦，说那我这。所以那么啥要过好不了的，那也会穷说你们平时这里当的所以别我去下，那有穷说我这这些，哦你没住多，你们别我这这把单按的居民，不是你是哪多啊？对你现在呢，我都现在下边主要拉上这里，那你下边啥呢？就把强强呀主要了，有穷说。
Before we enter back into the text of parting from the Four Clingings, I just want to recount that last weekend I was in Adelaide. We were given the opportunity to gather together with a large number of students. I think in total there were about 250 of us, of which included about 25 monks and nuns, as well as 6 Geshes. So we all gathered together to engage in this Guru Bum Sok, this practice of making 100,000 offerings to Guru and Geshe. And this was it's an annual event that's requested to create virtue, to dedicate to the long lives of His Holiness and Lama Zopa, that they may continue to abide in our world and benefit beings. And we also made prayers for the accomplishment of outer peace within the world as well as inner peace within beings, as well as to dedication of virtue for all the suffering that is being endured in Australia due to the current wave of bushfires, with so many beings dying awful deaths, as well as people losing their homes. So the puja was of great benefit, I feel, and it was really wonderful to gather together with so many fellow Dharma practitioners, and also I enjoyed the opportunity to be able to spend time with some of my classmates and others that I know from my monastery. So it was quite a very beneficial long weekend that we had in Adelaide. And a few of us went from here, some students, one of the monks, as well as some of the nuns. So it was wonderful to be there with my fellow Dharma practitioners from here too. We were also asked to, in the Dharma Center, to perform some debate, so as to create auspiciousness for the students there, so they could witness or observe debate. So as Geshes, we all debated together, and this we find, of course, I found very enjoyable. So we did this in the Dharma Center, but between ourselves in our own time, we debated many times about a wide variety of topics.
Bendigo the Parada, the Nisutiki, Suverim Checodio, Suverim Chetunio Chagra, Nadu Suverim Checo Chagra, Mazati Parada, the Nisutiko, China Suverim Che, New Chayovena, New Chana, didn't Azuki, Suverim Chike, go on to Banazin, to be Chuba Chagora, the Aboro Chonsons.
And afterwards, the photographs were posted to Facebook, and many were sent to Lama Zopa directly. And he expressed his great delight at the success of the Guru Bum Sok, because this is something too that's very close to his heart, and he had encouraged Geshe Thubten Rabten to arrange. And therefore, by us engaging in this puja last week, in this extensive puja, this bringing great delight to Lama Zopa's mind means that we were accomplishing the wishes of the teacher. We're fulfilling his hopes and his wishes. So this too is something that is to be rejoiced in.
And Jansen means, and Zimbachuna, Dawa means, Jamba Shidi, and Dirua.
Now, turning back to the text, the root text is included in our commentary in the 3rd verse. If you cling to this life, you're not a practitioner. If you cling to the 3 realms, that is not renunciation. If you cling to self-interest, you're not a bodhisattva. If grasping arises, it is not the view.
다 젠바 시리 방고그레 송저 지단 체델라 셴바디 방당 간데시 센다 체델라 셴바스네 체디기 디기 점 주야단 체디점기 동화세기 디던달이야 삼 꺄야 삼다야데 체델라 셴바시고로마 디 셴바디 빠야딜라 나저게 아네 가소레 마송게 동화 삼야다 아네 치와메다바 삼다야 견주기 밀리름부체 안자치모 삼다야데 삼다야디체 and this sometimes and Carson so come the Carson, the Korea Gasore, Masung Dunale, Tarche, Gewachima, Tada Mukoba, Tobudu, Semi Donny Sambaki, Dondala, this was sometimes the details. So that the Donny Sambaki, and the Yamlan Jay, the Karelana, Lunga used me nature to be Surim Soyata, Jimbe Yamlanjia, Sube Yamlanjia, Sundry Yamlanjia, then Gewachima, and then Sambo Topja, and the Lama Yawachi. 清一代的喇嘛级的阶级，喇嘛底层的学习呢，年们级啊，然后学生莫那么家呀，那是做必须哪人带的地方是，这种工作的了，但是给我起码，我说的他些，他的美国方电锯没人不接，他的美国方他们的托孤都是被多年给的，你多年给等到了，哎呢，我说给。 동해 삼다야다 하는 거 두스트네 삼다 디레세다 그제디 제딜레시나 추바미스 디방탕디 곰나데 삼다다리 간에 땅고르선 디네시에지 그지 다 당보디 슈루와.
To recap then the meaning behind the first line, if you cling to this life, you are not a practitioner. We looked at this in some detail over a couple of weekends, but in brief, clinging to this life means having a mind that's dominated by achieving happiness that is related only to this one life, so mere worldly happiness, as well as the partner thought to that, which is a mind being dominated by overcoming the problems and difficulties that pertain to this life. So this very narrow way of thinking, this is what needs to be abandoned, because this is the way of thinking that clings to this mere life, this one life. In order then to develop a mind that is far broader and more expansive than a mind that is obsessed by worldly happiness and overcoming worldly problems and difficulties, one needs to reflect on the sufferings of the lower realms, the preciousness of this rebirth, the impermanence of this life. So these are what one needs to reflect on in order to give rise to a mind that is transformed, or to transform one's mind. And then when one has given rise to this transformation, then one strives in the cultivation of the practices that are the practices in order to achieve a good rebirth in our next life, those of ethics, generosity, patience, joyous perseverance, and prayer. And prayer here specifically refers to making aspirational prayers that in all our future rebirths we meet, having attained a precious human rebirth, we meet a Mahayana spiritual friend, we recognize them as such, come under their care, and have great interest in the Dharma, train in the Dharma, cultivate the minds of the Dharma, cultivate the teachings of the spiritual friend in our continuum. So that's the prayers that one makes. So to represent what is meant here by abandoning clinging to this life in order to be a practitioner is one first, in order to generate the required motivation, which is a motivation that is fixed on achieving a good rebirth, one needs to cultivate the preciousness of this opportunity that we have, come to understand clearly its great meaning, so that we don't let a moment go to waste. That then leads us to the reflection on the impermanence of this opportunity. And the reflection on the impermanence of that opportunity gives our mind great strength and great courage to turn away from the distractions of this life, the mere happiness, the achievement of mere happiness, and the overcoming of problems and difficulties that relate to just this one life. Then one thinks about, at the time of death, I have only one of two directions: the suffering lower realms, or a pleasant migration as a human or God. And reflecting then on the suffering lower realms, one's strength of mind grows ever more determined. I have to use this precious human rebirth whilst I still have this opportunity before my life ends, so as to create the causes for a good rebirth. So this is how those three meditations on this human rebirth, its impermanence, and the sufferings of the lower realms give great strength and focus to one's mind. Then one has the motivation to engage in the trainings of those 5 practices of ethics, generosity, patience, choice, perseverance, and stainless prayer. So that's how to cultivate the motivation, what the motivation is, and then the practices of a practitioner.
Kamsum le shena shenba sedi da di panswe karela na kamsum le shenba sede kamsum yu deba da ane debe kamna suji kana sumi kamgi ane delia gyen ma ta ju yenten da je samba da yenten delia cha deba ina da je cha deba ina ane 차비기 차바들라 다 감숨라 시바 시그로와 제는 데니게 감숨라 신베 디니에나 아니 코와를 저투고마 타바 톱투고 말레스 제는 디 감숨라 데니게 신바데 방고고리 해라 그러와다 데레 신바 방다 녀보 칸 땡고르스네 감숨리야 아니 동아이 삼다제 동아세다 유에 동아세 차바디지 동아세 동아이 라신야 삼다 감숨지 콜위 감숨 가도 있네야 콜위기 최대로 괜찮냐 삼다도 안두 삼다도 안 갈리기를 라병도 만들려 다 코와 딜레 마탄데 타면 탈고도 선비게 탈바도니 삼바디 숙침을 거래 그래서 탈바도니게 삼바디 숙침을 해야도 안 타바 토외기 귤이야 베즈죠라 타바 톱고도 삼비 되니를 해도 타바 토외 귤에 베즈지 그래 타바 토외 귤 베즈지에 대한 냠는 제대다 타바 톱고도 선비게 감성 콜위를 괜 따야디 다고도 김전 가려람나 델레 괜 마타나 가지 델레 타고 좀 말와 진짜 괜 통여도 다 코와들레 타고도 선배 돈이디 숙치 무기야게 된다라 너 코와라 괜다고 그래 니 돈이에 가지 숙치 몰래서나 다 타바 토베기 규들이야 베즈시 뭐래 베즈시에 최고래 세상 타바 토베 규리 베즈지에디 가려람나 지바래 되지 진바 수준 쇠바 전주 안냠나 지야제 니 강라 something 신의 주 신의 당 다음에 뭐 또비게 다음에 또비 셔랍 거면 어딩 냠딩 주보디 냠는 제들이 다 냠는 제 디 주보디 냠는 제발을 때는 달바도 고거래 제래 그래서 내내 장아 저기 대 감숨을 신바디 냠보 삼다나다 감숨을 신베 냠보 따내는 예중 게든 달바도니 삼바게 디 달바도의 귤베지제디 삼다네 디리에서 그징 나디아 슈사로서
Thereafter, in our time together, we spent a weekend looking at the second line. If you cling to the 3 realms, that is not renunciation. The 3 realms then refers to the realm that we are in right now, that of the desire realm, as well as the realms of the form realm and the formless realms. So these 3, the desire realm, form realm, and formless realm, comprise the 3 realms. The position that as ordinary beings find ourselves in is we cling to these 3 realms, and we cling to these 3 realms because we are deceived by our attachments, seeing there as being benefits, as being happiness in these 3 realms, and therefore seeing the 3 realms as having desirable qualities, we are attached, or we cling to the 3 realms, and therefore we have not been able to renounce these 3 realms. So the second clinging that needs to be separated or parted from is the clinging to these 3 realms. And the way to do that is come to realize with great clarity that there is no happiness worthy of striving for and achieving to be found anywhere within these 3 realms. And the way to come to a realization of a magnitude that is transformative is to reflect on suffering in great detail. And there are different ways, different presentations on how one can do so. And here we looked at the threefold presentation on suffering. which starts with looking at the suffering of physical and mental pain. We spoke then also in some detail about the suffering of transient happiness. And then thirdly, the suffering, all-pervasive suffering. So one needs to meditate repeatedly over a sustained period on all three of these, to the point where we see that cyclic existence is pervaded by suffering. And then that leads to our desire relating to samsara being severed. We no longer see any rebirth or any attainment within samsara as being worthy of endeavor and effort, but rather we develop a wish to be freed from the sufferings of samsara because we've understood the pervasive nature of suffering in samsara. And this leads us to developing the mind that is definite about emerging from the suffering realms of samsara and attaining liberation, or to express it as we have here in the verse, to renounce the sufferings of samsara. To give rise to such a strength of mind requires extensive meditation on these three types of suffering. This has to be done, though, in order to generate the cause that leads to the result of the mind of definite emergence. And that is the mind that has sufficient strength that the practitioner can apply herself to cultivating and achieving liberation. Having generated the motivation through this reflection, then the practitioner is ready to engage in the actual practices of such a practitioner. And these are the same four practices related to the first line, namely those of ethics, generosity, patience, and joyous perseverance. And then two more added, concentration and wisdom. So these are the 6 trainings that are required in order to achieve liberation. But in order to be able to cultivate those trainings of sufficient strength or magnitude so that one actually achieves liberation, one requires a strong aspiration to be freed from suffering. To generate this aspiration requires the reflection on suffering. And the stronger the resulting aspiration for freedom, the stronger one will strive for liberation, which means one's mind will be ever focused on achieving liberation. So this is a sequence of trainings relating to the abandoning, the clinging to the 3 realms, or to samsara in its entirety.
Jawa Karachina, Sosule, Susugi, Nalati Kudu, Sada, Maji Guzman, rounding Samba Keje, Jawa Karachebene, rounding Rang chasing Samba Chebana, dear Dadula Shabaswa. Dear Rang chasing somebody, Mabambaina, Janusamba Chadu Mares, Janusamba Machavana, Sanjoko to Marwa. Jana, Dini in the Dadula Shamba Bangurilla, the Rang chasing Samba Bangurilla. The ranches in Samba Panta de la Ananazuki, Kargongore, Shenchis in Samba Gongore, Shenchis in Samba Gomiala, and the Shen, and the Simjatam Jerangi, Padama, Gurino, Jenova, and Lem Mambo Jenova, some Tayada, Simjatam Gerala, getting Chimboy, Chinchimboy, some Tata. And the nigger sometime, and some Jatam Jelaya, Suzuki Tin, Sugi, Simbigan, Tilen, Jagging Sibia Samta, the name sometimes, some Jatam Java, the Dana, somebody, some Jatam Duna, Dana, Sempigi, the nigger Shen chasing somebody, Gomia did it. The Gom did it, Jen did dinner, Shinda, Jen Hasan Kasan, Kasi Shubanaji, some Jatam, Jiggy, Rangla chasing somebody, Shen Pachi, Shen Digi Juna. Rang Yaka Kazuchubene, Shen Digi said, Shen Dunga said, Shen Digi Tuvia da, Shen Dunga Sege Donala, Rani Kalekatsikana, Jackie Snalia, Chikaze Jawana Kalekazuna, Kame, Sempe Samtane, Rang chasing somebody pa, Shen Papu, Shen Jabati, Shen Yapure, Shen Digi Juna Yaprasam. 但我让做的先要我对的什么了，地怕出不要钱，我让做了，先一段的了，我让个这个呢，个来个这个呢，我叫我抢那刚刚个这看没什么，的那个什么当功夫的，第一个没有的，俺那个这个第一阶段的，什么讲他们这第一逐步，东啊逐步，的没结糊涂什么当一堆，第一站的什么讲他们就上去过，往码头那他们都什么讲究什么，你们这的吃过的是，我们也的的是，这是的那张。先接着上吧，其实讲究什么我们参的，但什么讲他们这个上学国防托把起因是别什么的那个讲究什么解了，第几个等到那个就先动啊，照顾的上吧的先接上吧，我们要的用真的嘞，讲究什么解个等到了先接这个上吧的公布的，其实的那讲究什么解呢？到什么讲他们上学国防托把起糊涂，什么切托把学什么讲究什么解呢？的工作嘞，但是咱们那个解的搞来呢，几个嘞。金巴、出什学吧，专注3天写了，当年都被写了。我第年们写的，第毛的年们记得几个人，那工农了卡差不多，就是工农会吃不到的多，就是讲究什么讲，他们这个东上学国宝托把几什么工农讲究什么结完，那讲究什么差不多的，的那个卷毛满一百结束那讲究什么。但的那个年们写的工农的那些年们写上学国宝托把轮到了，年们搞的钱托过来是呢。金属派进这个一定年们接的，现在年们接地了的，现在看上定啊这个开始得去查去。
Overcoming that first clinging, it was presented then how what the motivation is that one needs to cultivate, how to do so, and then the trainings. What the practitioner is doing here is also developing a great strength of mind and a focus. And this is then developed ever further in the abandonment of the second clinging. So there's this progression. And as one is going through the meditations to cultivate the appropriate motivation, and thereby able later to engage in actual trainings related to the abandonment of the second clinging, one is developing one's focus and broadness of mind ever further. And now when we come to the abandonment of the third clinging, if you cling to self-interest, you are not a bodhisattva. Then the basis that has been formed sequentially as one progresses through the preceding stages, now the practitioner has given rise to a mind of exceptional power and strength and focus. A mind that is not distracted by worldly concerns or even the slightest of desires relating to cyclic existence itself. Here now, the practitioner has given rise to a very powerful motivation, a very powerful focused mind. And this now then is developed into a new direction. Here what needs to be abandoned is clinging to self-interest or to self-obsession. And how this is usually expressed is the self-cherishing mind. It is this now in the third clinging that needs to be abandoned. The self-cherishing mind is the mind that cherishes oneself first and foremost. It's this attitude that places our own interest, our own welfare first and foremost. And this has to be abandoned in order to become a bodhisattva. So those who have the aspiration to enter the paths of the bodhisattvas, to be counted amongst the children of the Buddha, have to abandon the self-cherishing mind. And the way to do so is to cultivate the other cherishing mind. So the motivation to generate is that comes with bodhicitta. The way to achieve this is through cultivating the other cherishing mind. So here the training then to cultivate this other cherishing mind is, as we looked at in the previous weekend together, one reflects on the intimate relationship that we have with all sentient beings, this relationship of mother and child. And that this relationship has been formed over a beginningless lifetimes. And coming to see this close connection that we share with all beings, one then reflects on the kindness that they have shown us, whether directly in such a relationship or another relationship, as well as in indirect ways, lifetime after lifetime. Now one comes to, having come to see just how kind others are to one, and now not just some beings but all have shown us repeatedly such kindness and care. Naturally, in dependence on that meditation, the wish to repay that kindness will come. The stronger those preceding steps, the stronger this mind of wishing to repay that kindness will come. So we should be seeing a progression of dependency from the first, overcoming the first clinging, to the second, and now to the third, that these are related. There's a sequence. And now the mind is very, very powerful, and one is committed to repaying the kindness of others, and thinking how to do so. One engages in the practice, as we heard last time, on cultivating love and compassion together, as well as the altruistic attitude of universal responsibility. These three can be cultivated together, as we saw last time. And these, in the meditation then, when one is engaging in the practice of taking on the suffering of others, giving of roots of virtue to them, because it is our responsibility, our personal responsibility, to achieve the welfare of others. In this way, one practices these three steps together, culminating in the thought, for me to really be able to do this skillfully, not just as a mere aspiration. I need to become the most skilled of guides, so that I can lead beings in the cultivation of their own minds, cultivation of the good qualities that lead to enlightenment, and the elimination of all the faults that are preventing that. I must become a Buddha for the sake of others. And in this way, one cultivates the required motivation for this third step, the motivation of bodhicitta. And then one is ready to actually engage in the trainings of a bodhisattva, the 6 perfections, which are the same 6 trainings as in the previous step, that of generosity, ethics, patience, joyous perseverance, concentration, and wisdom. But being conjoined with bodhicitta now, they are perfections. So this is the motivation that needs to be required for the third abandonment of the third clinging, how to cultivate it, and then the trainings of the bodhisattva.
Ranshin yi drupa zimbe zimba se urba. Chisa ranshin yi drupa zimbe zimba chuyo ba dila, ane zimba se ade. Chisa ranshin yi drupa zimbe zimba di, ane zimba de mabang pa ina, ane kasore tawa gomche, magomba gomche, ane sanyo gomando toya yo ma desi. Tawa kasa zimba chuna tawa mi siri ranshin yu drupa zimba di sabo na cheba mabang pa ina tawa gom che sabo na cheba mabang pa ina baksa da cheba mabang pa ina sanyi kowa tuk ma re zimba chuna tawa mi siri zimba chuna tenzin chuna tongyu tuk ma re se di ma re zimba chuna tawa mi se diya goya ga nyinga tuwa zimba chuna tawa mi siri tenpa zimba tenzin ki zimba ranshin yu drupa zimba di yoba ina teni ranshin marupa zimbe tawa du gomje ane sanji goma top mare gomba le tene tarchin be sanji goma de le tuk mare sa chi shigira dadi nganzo dadi ko share dadi de
That presents the review of what we've been looking at over the last 9 days, 9 classes, I think. Now we come to the abandonment of the 4th clinging. If grasping arises, it is not the view. So what this refers to is true grasping, where one grasps at phenomena existing truly or existing inherently. This is what has to be abandoned. If one does not abandon it, one's heartfelt aspiration cannot be achieved. So again, here we bear in mind the sequence of trainings that the yogi has practiced up to this point. They've given rise to this determination to become a Buddha for the sake of others. They've generated this mind of bodhicitta. They are committed to striving to become a Buddha. In order to do so, they have to abandon true grasping. They have to abandon the grasping at phenomena as existing truly or existing inherently. Without abandoning grasping at inherent existence together with its seeds and its imprints, Buddhahood cannot be attained. So this brings us now to the 4th clinging, which is to abandon true grasping in order to achieve the perfected state of Buddhahood.
cheba min se di ko she du ngzo lamrim cheba ne ki bu chung lam ji ba de tumo lam ji ba de shi go re tene kamsom la shen na nge ju min se de di ka so ka shi go se na nga ju ki bu ding ki lam ji ba nam sha shi go re da da de la shen na cha se min an jin ba chu na da wa min se de she di di ni bo di ki shen ba ji di ki kya ba chim ba lam ji ba nam sha shi go re cha lamrim cheba na ki bu sum lam ji ba nam ji go shi go re.
What should be very clear then in this root verse is that this presentation of the four clingings to be parted from is in accordance with what we're very used to in our Lamrim presentation, which is divided in three ways. I'm not saying it nicely. Is divided in accordance to the capacity of various spiritual aspirants. So what we see in the first line here, where in order to become an actual Dharma practitioner, one has to abandon clinging to this mere life, the pleasures and sufferings of this life. One engages in a variety of trainings, and those are the trainings that we see in the Lamrim presented as the trainings that are in accordance with or shared with a spiritual aspirant of initial capacity. Then in the second line, we come to the trainings that are in accordance with a spiritual aspirant of intermediate capacity. And these are the trainings in order to attain liberation from suffering in its entirety to achieve nirvana. And then the trainings that are unique to a being of supreme capacity, these are presented in the abandonment of the third and fourth clinging, that of self-interest and grasping to true existence. So therefore, this one verse contains in a very abbreviated form all the trainings that are common to the beings of initial and intermediate capacity, or shared with the beings of initial and intermediate capacity, as well as those of a being of supreme capacity.
Dina du ko sixty shinala lamrim gi nyamlen chena chasan 60 dina du ko du sare andi ma sanje jumnen di chö sung chasan gar sung wala sne semjen jumna semjen tam je diba bacha da je ba na sanje ko ba thoyagi ni do na lo sung sha ba ji re deni gi janju sembi gi nyamlen je ma thugen des deni gi lo wangbo des gyo zolya ane koye dunga tada lo je tarba se thoyagi 니 냠네 제다고 손셔겨래 나 데네 데라 디자면 타바야 돈딩여 제로 냠네 제 마통을 줄라 기와치만 알송라 타지 하다 미고 봐 토여치도 안 냠네 제 손셔 산이기 최간에 수면 데니기 디고 손셔겨마도 샤가요 말에 진짜 매반자 셴벌시 냠네 지다 나려야 산이 좀는데 손비게 최용수도 베게 냠네 제다 디나 뒤샤래다 뒤샤래 데네 인상은 좀 제대로 신나 쳐봐미 감성라 신나 안에 가소래 감성라 신나 뇌주미 다된라 신나 자세미 다와 짐버준나 다와미 세데 데니기 지제 시딩 아주 롤파 주제 안에 교교 제디 돈다 삼담바나 아주 람림 차자 냠는지 제기 삼담하데 리고래 산이기 손여기 최 손시비 최 차장게다 간에 소비나 냠는 디나네 마디바지요 말와 데니 지난 개발체는 배 산이송에게 최 뭐고 기대 시도 버시 호주어 선거 나 치자 뒤에는 람림나 뒤로 람림 첨보나 다 람림 치매 냠는 제단에 수용 뒤반 람림 딩 디나 뒤반에 안에 가서래 람림 충무나 뒤로 나 디나 수뒤저 셴바시 되게 60 나를 뒤로 그러다
In this one root verse then, the entire Lamrim tradition is condensed to these mere 4 lines. If you think then actually about the entire Buddha Dharma, everything that the Buddha taught, he taught so as to lead beings to enlightenment. He taught in order to enable beings to achieve as quickly as possible the faultless, perfected state that he himself had achieved. From his experience, he taught the complete path perfectly. And he taught this so as to give beings the ability to completely eliminate all their afflictive minds, together with their seeds and imprints, and thereby attain the state of perfection, the state of Buddhahood. And these are the trainings that we associate with the being of greatest capacity. For those who haven't yet given rise to a strength of mind where they are committed to becoming a bodhisattva, and once a bodhisattva, becoming a Buddha for the sake of others, he taught them how they could attain liberation from suffering, how they could bring all the pain and suffering, even the subtlest, to a complete end. And thereby he taught the trainings that are shared with a being of intermediate capacity. And for those for whom such trainings are too daunting, he also, with his great skill, taught beings how they can achieve a good rebirth in their future lives, transform their way of thinking away from the distractions and mundane affairs of this mere life, and strive wholeheartedly to ensure that they don't fall into the suffering lower realms. And thereby, he taught the trainings that are shared with a being of initial capacity. So this way of dividing the Buddha Dharma contains the entirety of the Buddhist teachings. It's all condensed into these trainings in accordance with the spiritual aspirants of initial, intermediate, and supreme capacity. So someone who understands this roadmap, understands these various trainings, they can memorize this mere 4-line verse. Having memorized it and understanding the Lamrim outlines and some detail on it, by reciting this 4-line verse, they have a basis to engage in Lamrim meditation wherever they are, whenever they wish. And this is important to be clear on, because up here we see the vast array of the Buddhist teachings, many texts. We know them mostly through their condensed forms into great texts such as the Lamrim Chemo, or it's the Great Lamrim, or the Middling Lamrim, or the Shortest Lamrim. But we find the same meaning presented in this one 4-line verse. So therefore, one can take all one's studies on the Lamrim, and through memorizing this one verse, use that as a basis of reflection.
Da jitar du kyang chu yi ngar zimba jebe zhawa me ase. Da jitar du kyang chu yi ngar zinna jebe zhawa me ase.
Now we turn to some new words. We come to the 25th verse. And again, I'll just read the first 2 lines. So just to repeat, the Tibetan, it's all just one line after the other. It's not broken into numbered verses like we have. In whatever way you abide in reality, there is no release so long as you grasp.
Da 가르송으로 쓰네 안주기 대지 가상 신이마 슈바난지 안주기 샘제 잠인지 곰 아니 대 장주 샘곰 고레스 장주 샘곰 고레스 지사 장주 샘곰네 아니 냠네 제데 진바 수준 쇠바 존절라 소바 냠네 제고 송으로 지사 되니자 다 지더 두장 최영알 진나 집에 좋아하면서도 잠인지 곰 장주 샘곰 제 동이마도 봐지 동이마도 봐이나 동이 또지 동이 마곰 봐이나 아니 동이 또지 동이 공부를 동이 또 동이 마곰 봐이나 장주심 가지 공부이나 장주심 육군이나 진바도 수준 수비 존재 냠는 아니 띵이지 신에 가지 공부이나 가서래 상지고 토투야 말이야 토투 말이라고 그러나 직도르디 봐이나.
In our previous weekend together, when we were looking at how to part from the third clinging, we looked at the cultivation of love and compassion to the point where it's so powerful that bodhicitta actually arises in the continuum of the practitioner, thereby make the practitioner be qualified to engage in the actual 6 perfections. Here, though, the point that is being emphasized in these 2 lines in brief is that no matter how much one meditates on love and compassion and bodhicitta and engages in the first 5 of the perfections, those of generosity, ethical conduct, patience, choice, perseverance, and concentration, no matter how well one has trained in these and no matter how powerful they are within one's continuum, without them being conjoined with the wisdom realizing emptiness, Buddhahood cannot be attained.
다음에 돈이 마도바이나 잠니지 좀 장주심 계시 장주심 검제 진바다 수준 수비 냠내지 띵예진 공바이까지 신의 grup까지 공바이나야 Solam Chungole Ya Drayama, the Solam Chungura Chatu, Tony Matoba, Solam Jing Chatu Marwa, Chisan Jenji Semba, Solam Jing Chatuama, Solam Chunguja Chat, Chisan Diniza, Solam Sanjo Gowatowala, Solam Jing, Jolam, Tonagona, Jimbashin, Yaman Yadro, Chisan Tony Matoba, and Solam Chung, some Mato, Dile Yadro to go, Marchesa Diniza, Jenjus Yaman Jeva, Tony Matona, Sanjoko to Tumna.
The practitioner, no matter how hard they and effectively and skillfully they train in the cultivation of bodhicitta and those first 5 perfections of ethical conduct, generosity, patience, choice, perseverance, and concentration, they will attain bodhicitta and therefore attain a path of a bodhisattva, the path of accumulation. And this path of accumulation is divided into 3 parts or 3 levels, of which the first of the 3 is the small level or small part of the path of accumulation. That is what is achieved when one becomes a bodhisattva and generates uncontrived bodhicitta. But without having realized emptiness, the bodhisattva will not be able to progress past the very first of the 3 levels of the first of the 5 paths. They will not even be able to achieve the middling level of the path of accumulation without the wisdom realizing emptiness.
동반이 또네 뒤로도 공부할때네 덴지의 방구를 마도 디 덴지 동반이 마도바네 덴지 방투고 말해 덴지 마바나 덴지의 바차 방투고 말해 진짜 산지 고방 토발라 덴지이다 덴지의 사바나 바차다 제고 방구로 방고 현자 돈이 마도만 덴지 방투고 말해 덴지의 바차 방투고 말해 데니 현자 인지 민지 장주심 가지고 검도 도말 대현자 고 인지 민지 산지 고방 토발라 동반이 마도발라 타비오 말해 시골들
The reason why the wisdom realizing emptiness is indispensable for the attainment of Buddhahood is that in order to become a being that is perfected, one needs to not only develop all good qualities to the state of perfection, but one also has to, alongside that, completely eliminate all faults so that not even a trace is left. And the faults on one's continuum are the afflicted minds. So it's the afflicted minds that need to be abandoned, together with their seeds, but not only their seeds, their imprints as well, so that there's no trace of them left at all. It's only then that one can become a Buddha. So all good qualities developed, and even the slightest trace of a fault eliminated. The root cause of all our afflictions is this ignorance of self-grasping. So this has to be abandoned, and it can only be abandoned through the cultivation of its antidote, the directly contrary mind of wisdom, in particular the wisdom realizing the emptiness of inherent existence. That is the antidote. The opposite mind to the ignorance of grasping at phenomena as existing inherently is the wisdom that realizes phenomena are empty of existing inherently. That is the only antidote, the direct antidote, and that needs to be developed to the strength that it not only destroys the afflictions together with their seeds, but also their imprints. And that is essential for the attainment of Buddhahood. Buddhahood cannot be achieved without wisdom of that magnitude.
토야데 마제 아니 탈바자면 토투 말해서 자 준비 탈바 년도에다 라이에 자 준비 되고 탈바 좀 토발라야 녀모바 방구고로와 제가 동이마도는 녀모 방토 말해 제가 상기 토야데 파수리 아니 탈바자면 토투 말해서 동이마도 바이나.
It's also important to be clear that, as has been said, the wisdom realizing emptiness is indispensable for the attainment of Buddhahood, but not only Buddhahood. to attain liberation from a cyclic existence, to bring a complete end to suffering, one also requires the wisdom realizing emptiness. Without the wisdom realizing emptiness, one cannot become an arhat or a foe destroyer, let alone a Buddha. So therefore, the wisdom realizing emptiness is indispensable for either of these supreme goals, that of becoming an arhat or becoming a Buddha.
Zimba said the Rashin Juba Zimba, Zimba Chuna Tawa Misita, Zimba Rashin Juba Zimba di Papango, Urwada, that the Payala, the Nyambotin Gore, Chizan Rashin Juba Zimba, the Nyambo, Gomiala, and the Gombala, Tambo, Rashin Juba Zimba, the Mosungo Gore, Zimba the Mosun, Peggy Miji Garsora, Kuma Imba the Jugoala, Tambo Kuma the Mosungorwa. Kuma di yapo di ngoy sonne dene zhe ju wo ma do kuma suyin ha mo de mi ma wi ji le ne kuma ju tu ya ma ba di na xin ma zhe ge zimba ra xin ju ba zimba de le nian bo den ba ya le nian bo den gong ya la gar ku so dang bo ra xin ju ba zimba de mo song bo de che.
In the root line that we look at, if grasping arises, it's not the view. So grasping here refers to grasping at true existence or grasping at inherent existence. So the antidote that needs to be developed has to be the direct antidote. The antidote needs to be realized directly. And this can be understood, for example, if one is trying to catch a thief. One needs to know directly or explicitly who that thief is. If one just has a rough idea, a general idea, that's not enough. We'll just know it's one of these people. That's not enough to apprehend the thief. So here one needs to know explicitly, directly, the antidote in order to be able to eliminate the grasping.
That Zimba said, Zimba said, Rashin Juba Zimba said, Demba Juba Zimba said, Rangi Tsin Juba Zimba said, Minkara Mother Donda, Demba Juba Zimba, and Minkara Donda Jiba Chatter. Rangi Rashin Juba Zimba said, Page Tanger, Kashanalia, Rangi Tsin Juba Zimba said, Rashin Juba Zimba said, Demba Juba Zimba said, the negative tiny patient on Marina, Dondala, Jibacha, Shiga, Minkara Madon, or Jiba, Donda Jiba.
Our root text just mentions the word grasping. This then can be expressed in differing ways. Some texts use the term grasping at true existence. Some texts use the term grasping at inherent existence. Other texts use the term grasping at its own defining characteristics. So these terms we should understand here as being synonymous, and we can utilize any of these terms.
Rashin Juba Zimba said, Rashin Juba Zimba, Ganeshi Laguri, somebody nada, Zimba the Ganesh Labna, Che Ganeshine, Lupa, Lupa, Tapa Mayimba, when you're Korong Yoba Sinsona, the Rashin Juba Zimba or Che Garet Zimba in a Lupa, Tapa Mayimba, Korong when you're Yoba Zimba Tela, Rashin Yoba Zimba. Lupa Tapa Mayimba, Jigyoba China, Yoba Zinsona, Rashin to Zimbala.
Bearing in mind that we're utilizing true existence, inherent existence, or established by way of its own defining characteristics synonymously, what that's referring to here is something that exists. If it were to exist inherently, it would not require imputation by mind. So if something were to exist inherently, it would not require imputation by mind.
On the Zimbatilla, Tananzuki Longor de la Gawa, Gacha de Garelamna, Gacha de la Garelamna, China Gaze, Lupa Taba Mayimba, Lupa Taba Mayimba, Korongwini, Yedebadi, Dinichi Yuba de la Yena. Della Rashin to Palagore. Digita Yomara, Yedi Yomarwa, Lupa Taba Mayimba, Korongwini, Drudivachi Yubaina, Della Rashin to Palagore.
Yini di Rangshin Drupa Kari de, di Goso, Yini di Gakcha de?
Jisan Gaksha, Manzo Gaksha, Sigura de la Gaksha, la Gapa, Longa, la Gapa, the Kari Lamna, Gaksha Sura, Manzo Lola Karanangosene, Lola, you got it now in there, Lue Pataban, Mayimba Koron when you're Nangor, Dinga to Lola Gabu, Jisan Dini Gawa, Gaksha, di Gaksha de la Gaksha, the Kari Lamna, Lue Pa Shaba, Mayimba. Korongwini Yuba, Lupa Shabala, Maduba, Korongwini Yuba, Yuba Della, Denis Yuna, and Della Ranshin Dubala.
So here in this practice, in this parting, this clinging to be parted from, what is the object to be refuted, the object of refutation? That is the appearance of an existent as being inherently existent. So it's appearance of inherent existence, that objects appearing to the mind as being existing inherently, in other words, not needing imputation by mind. This needs to be refuted. This is the object of refutation, this appearance of inherent existence.
Gala Matuba, Horong, Juba de la Ranshin Juba like this, Sipage Dana Dine Tangor, Pumbo, Chashe, Gala Matuba, Gang Yang, Gala Yang, the Yanga, the Karaji Lupa Shaba, Matuba, Lu Shaba, Matuba, Chisnadiniza, Pumbo, Chashe, Lupa Shaba, Gala Matuba, Chiuna, Tele Temple Juba like this. That just many Java said to Guru, that Dordu Shevena, Lupa, Shaba, Matuba, Koron, Yobas, dinner, Timbertuba like this. Dinning also you got it, Nana, didn't go, Lupa, Matuba, Koron, Yudiba, and Chashe down, and then Pumboda, Chashe, Kala, Matuba, Ramon, do it, then go there.
Usually in texts, how this point is presented about the object of refutation is it said that the object, the way it appears to the mind, is that it's not dependent on causes and conditions, not dependent on parts, etc., or and so forth. But to put this in its briefest form, as I've just done, it means that an object appears to our mind as not requiring imputation by mind. It appears not to be dependent on imputation by mind. So that's the briefest way to put it. A text expresses it differently, but this is the easiest way to understand. Well, there's the abbreviated way to present it. And this is how phenomena appear to us. They appear to us to be inherently existent. They appear as if they don't require imputation by mind. So this is how all phenomena appear to us.
Chane, or Denichi, Google Ranshin Jubana, Lola Matioba, Corongoni Jubachin, Google, some Lochisha, Denigi Yoba Zin, Denzin Rede, Tawasa Ds, some Lola Pashache, that Denigi, Lola Matioba, Rangwin Jubadi, that Jevacher, Kawatus, that Shimjushia, Zia, Kumala Masona, Wilson, the Kawatus, Rodina, Zia.
All phenomena appear to our mind as if they are inherently existent, meaning they appear as if they are not dependent on anything at all. In brief, they appear not dependent on imputation by mind. They don't require imputation by mind. This is how phenomena appear to us. And our mind of grasping grasps at this. We could say believes, we could express this as it believes that the phenomena exists in this way. So it grasps at it as this being how the phenomenon exists. So this is how all phenomena appear to us. We grasp at it, and this is the mind of true grasping. So the phenomenon appears as truly existent or inherently existent. Grasping at it is the mind of true grasping. And this then refers to, in the verse, in the fourth line, we have, if grasping arises, it is not the view. If one has true grasping, that is not the view. It's true grasping that needs to be abandoned. So again, the fourth line in the root verse, if grasping arises, it is not the view. If true grasping arises, one hasn't cultivated the correct view or realized the correct view. So coming to see this mistaken, this wrong mind needs to be abandoned, and it's abandoned through the process of investigation or analysis. Like was mentioned earlier, one needs to know directly who the thief is before one can apprehend and expel the thief. So that is done through a process of investigation. And this too is what is needed here in our quest to understand reality.
Dangpo sosorang la samdang jeba chekores pa sosorang sama yenda jil samdang jeba china dele kale ka yore jire ta sosorang dangpo sosorang la samdang jeba chekores ta jeba che du anda sosorang la samdang jeba che du dangpo sosorang ge samde sosorang nga sa jor bada nga sa di tu senga yores nga sa da lolya kan chagdu sembige dangpo dili ditago soso lolya soso nga sa nga de de sa da nga dugu yo sa da nga na ge nga kibudu da diri nga khala shimbu sa nga sa tu ta hadi kan tu solo soso lolya kan chagdu ji du ji shimju je du jen samdang go dangpo de.
As was mentioned, all phenomena appear to our mind as being inherently existent. To see if they exist in this way, one goes through the process of investigation, as was just mentioned. So if all phenomena appear to be inherently existent, one can, in theory, start with any phenomenon to see how it appears. But the texts always recommend that one starts with oneself, with our own sense of self, as this is an object we are most familiar with, and it's said to be more difficult to start with any other object. So we start with our own sense of self to try and get a sense of how our self appears to our mind. So when we think, I'm sitting here, I'm listening to this teaching, I'm a little hungry, I'm a little tired, there's always this sense of self. What is that sense of self? Or rather, how does that sense of self appear to our mind? This is the starting point, is to come to see how the object, in this case, the self, appears to our mind.
Bendigo nana roji hago de nangdu sembe na da hago de chisa di ngadi da kiji ngama dan chimala dugi de mindu gyule dugi de mindu se cheba che ho da dangbo.
Starting then with our I, ourself, and trying to see how it appears to us. The characteristics of a phenomenon being inherently existent is that, as we've heard, it appears to be independent of anything at all, meaning independent of imputation by mind, and it's something that appears to be unchanging. So when we've accomplished this first step to whatever degree, when we have a feeling we have a sense how our self appears to us, then we start our investigation, and we first see, does our self change momentarily? It appears to be unchanging. Is this the case? Or does it change momentarily?
nga amale kiwa was chisa nga chungchu ma de yo ma da che cha le res chisa nga mal tu nga ma de mena ane nga de le yo ma was chisa nga de ki nga mala ma de ba de mi dus chisa ane nga de ki chimal tu gri tu ma la na keji chima de la matena ko keji chima roya mena nga ani ji nyamlen jene ya roya da sa tarba da tamji ji ko ma thoya kewa chima ana la da mi ko ma thoya dine nga son ki grise dine ma roya me de cha do chisa keji chima la de de ga chima do ke ma chima la ma de ba de dine ke na de na nga di da keji chima la ma de ba re me do keji tambo la ma de de nga se de sha ya min du sem be ge da sam lo chi li do ha je ba ji de ka plan.
Den Dante kera also kechi redetana deni ngaso dakte gyugi yore de gangla tupere kaze kechi ngola la turgi
namala tugo matyo baina gasene kam ngama matyo baina tanga jugi de gasena ame tambo ke deni ya cher saar me cha ro ngamal tyo matyo ba ji khorong daga na wa na shin daga ran jue baina kechi ngamal matyo baina ani anga ame keyo mare la cha ro denga bu chu mare 지도 안 결혼한데 전부 다가는 깨어는 깨시야면 아마를 맞아 봐야 진짜 되는지 제민도 진짜 당가 아마를 깨와래 되는 깨내야 춘춘이야 철철 차는다 대바도 전부 차와래 진짜 되는 인자 라는 나도 봐 나신 깨가 좀 아마를 나야 될라 맞아 아마를 맞아 봐 남기도 뒤나와 나신 직다다 레민도 선배게 나 삼로 제바지나 한 치마라야 당가 저기 그 치마라 맞아 봐 책임에 가서 치마를 매나 치마를 줘야 매 봐 차로 진짜 아니 니매는 냠는 진에 야기 줘야 매래 이 야기 매는 냠는 제와서 말봐 진짜 야기 줘야 누가 줘야 매봐 차로 되네 말봐가 아니 로처셔셔셔 줘야래 nga lobchang 진에 야야 줘야래 진짜 진짜 지규호 줘야래 진짜 되네서 가야 만나 나와 나신직다 기징아 뭐 치마를 주어줘야 매는 된데 레미도 선배 삼로라 되네 기심주셔 오래.
We've started the analysis, and now we have this. Starting the analysis follows having seen how the object of the self appears. Now we investigate, and we investigate first through seeing if our sense of self changes momentarily. We can think. We first started thinking quite a coarse or rough way, and we probably will all readily acknowledge that our sense of self has changed a lot over our lifetime. From when our earliest memories, maybe we're toddlers or young children, then over the intervening years to our present state right now, our sense of self has certainly changed. We no longer identify in the same way as we used to. So we immediately can see that there is momentary change. So the one characteristic of an inherently existent phenomenon, that it is unchanging, immediately we see a flaw here. It is changing. The sense of self has changed countless times. And then in relation to the second characteristic of an inherently existent phenomenon, that being it being independent of anything at all, such as imputation by mind, each subsequent moment is dependent on the preceding moment. It's a relationship, there's a continuity. It's not independent. A moment is not independent on its own, but it comes about independence in relation to the previous moment. So thinking then about our own lives here, we can see our sense of self has changed. Therefore, it cannot be inherently existent because it's not unchanging, and it's not independent because each moment, one after the other, is interdependent. And moreover, we can then take the reflection a little more deeply and think of the consequence of a phenomenon being inherently existent, meaning unchanging and independent. It would mean that our self, if it were unchanging, we wouldn't have better days and worse days because we'd be unchanging. Moreover, in terms of being freed from suffering, there would be no hope. There would be no point engaging in practice and training our minds because we would be unchanging. Change could not come if we were unchanging. Change couldn't be impacted, our self couldn't be impacted independent on causes because our self, if it were inherently existent, would be independent and therefore any training would have no impact on it. So again, we see the self cannot be inherently existent.
Lola, Matova, Kanlaya, Matova, Chashela, Matova, Yudan, Rang, Tuba, now, Nashindi, Ya, Gaging Amada, Chimala, Jeva China, the Niki Yamiti, Karsana Gaging Amadi, Namangamal Tugore, Gaging Amadi, Chimala Tugore, Chimadi, Yangamal Tugorwa, Chizan, Gaging Achivena, Chick Tuva, Matova, Medici. She's not the Naya de la Kala, Matova, Nadur. She's a dingy Jeva Chedu. Tungo Marwa, Chizan to Tendig and Namja sometimes at Tendi City, Chizan Kijing Amadi, Chimala, Chimadi, Namala, Tendi, Kigudu, Chizan, Kiji Chimadia, Namadi Mena, Chimayo Mare, Chimad Mena, Namayo, Marchesa, this kitchen as Chichile, Tutuga Changidu. Nala Nadu Nadi, Kala, Matuba, Rang, Matuba, Yutuba, Nang, the Dini Tungumindus, Chizan, Kitchen Ashiva and the Kitchen Anji, Ashiva, Chazan. Chichile dirty by Chaya Chagdus, these in the regiment that now and I think kitchen at another year, me do some title.
Those of you who attended the extensive teachings on the text Praise for Dependent Arising and have engaged in these meditations will be very familiar with this process. Because in the analysis where we come to see, where we investigate whether a phenomenon exists in the way that it appears to our mind or not, here we're using the investigation to see whether it is unchanging independent through looking whether it changes momentarily. And we see that there are moments to our sense of self. There is this change. So here, the technique we used in the presentation on dependent arising we use here, that each moment is dependent on the preceding moment. The present moment comes about in dependence on a preceding moment. The future moment, the moments that are still to come, they are dependent on the current moments, which are dependent on the past moments. There is this sequence of dependency. So therefore, the self cannot be either independent or unchanging.
Marzo na du lo le na wa na xin ta gang la ya ma de lo la ya ma de ba ju xian gang la ma de ba rang wen ni yue ba ma ne na wa na xin ji da ma zu pung bei dian de gao du ma jie ba na da ne guo dang la ba da gang ba di re ne re be se ne di ma de di su ga se ne ne di su yuo zhe de xian xi le dian de ba ben la ba ro ji ben ne gang bo cha me ba se du yu xia ben nga ne yo le jie za di la ba de nga cha ge min do 나 데니게 고디기 가마레 덴두 쳔이 제바제바이나 다 난기 샤당 차당 바바도如果 강하게 되네요 말아서 나도게 나디 녀메티게 제니 라메팅 지레 지사 데니도 섬데 지사 데니기 나주게 수보디게 차상 지지레 데네 데네 기되어 가지 유단见的对吧그 유어저 유되게 지레샤 지사 가브리엘 감보차 가브리엘 지게 네 수보야 고 차야다 가브리엘 수보는 나저야 유어저야 가브리엘 지 수보게 차시 매와 소가 되는 연구로 와지 이네 지 데니스도 소소히 나디 나와 나신디 딱 수보 때네 가야냐 나와 나지 유나 유어기네 저야 메도 그런 다가랑지 예대가지고 고도 재산디 레메도 재산 풍부들에 유어줘야 뭐 재산 이 풍부의 차시에 간에지 속이 풍부의 차시에 강도 삼 다바네 나디니 하면 누워섬지 되네기 심지지야 직장으로 와.
Take the analysis then further to look at, so we want to see if the self exists in the way that it appears. We're looking for this unchanging, independent self. So we look within our aggregates, our physical and mental aggregates, to see if we can find the self anywhere here. So we start with the physical aggregate, this body that we identify with, so. And we think, so which of these body parts is my self to be found? This independent, unchanging self. And we break our body parts up into our body into various components, and we mentally put perhaps an arm over there, or a leg over there, and we think that my arm over there, is that myself? Has my sense of self now gone to where my arm is, and this is now just the corpse? No, I'm here, the arm is over there, but my sense of self is not here. And we can go through all the body parts. Whatever it is that we identify with so in our body, we look at subtler parts within, and nowhere can we find anything that we can point to and say, that is indistinguishable from my sense of self. That is my independent, unchanging self. We come to see that this body is not the self.
nang sheba dige Gabriel ya chowa dewa ki ri ki dewa ki ya yang Gabriel ya de dewa de ba de gyur chene dunga ki ya Gabriel tangnim nye cha go ba je yuo du go sang ngao zo ngadi ngao zo na wa na xin ha di ga mo de ba de ba yuo ki ne zhe me de ke ku na de ba xin yuo ba na wa na xin yuo ba ne ga la ma yuo ki ne zhe me de yuo go ba ji san di ngao zo chowa de le na sem yi de je ba che ba ne sem Gabriel dewa chowa dewa le da chowa dewa le du dewa de pa gyur je dungal ma gyur de chowa de gyur ro xian ji le de ne gyu dan jian le de ne gyur ro go ro ji na de ne za nga di chowa de ring min de ka se ne nga de na wa na xin ji na gyur gi ne zhe me chi go do ji chowa de ge xie ba de gyur ro go do ji san de xie bei de ne nga ring min do 또 전에 셰바마 차차차 사제바 진 되는 셰바디기 봐 기징아치 봐 유아기네 로에메데 셰바 땅바 참어들 마들에 봤네 되니기 다 나이 레벨람나 디야 말에 가서는 디 기징아마 나마디 치마라 치마디 기징아마 될라티네 치마 준거 지상 기징아 기 조르고 왔어 지상 되는 아주 조헌의 미드 시네 지 기징아마 셰바 가르디네 셰바 시대에서 차고로 지상 되네 셰바자 물론 나와 나신 주여변 그 유아균에 줘야만 나가라 유디가 시리 지난 셰바 참 기징아치 근데 집에 나고 기지 유아주고도 왔어 지난 셰베 때는 예민지도 저 삼단에 간삼 찍을야 두지 찍이 리바 땡진데 찍찍 땡기도 삼단에 소소를 나네 강라에 뭐 랑원의 줍디게 나와 대당 현대 차식이 때문에 땡진 저저 삼단에도 두 삼단 되네 간삼 찍을야 지 파지 제제제도 되네 강라 나에 봐 되니기 되니게 랑원이 주 나와 나신지 자오균의 예매디겐 다 가화 제바제만에 동상 지마도 예매와 차고 동상 지마도 니겨 말아 되니게 제 로라 나와 나신 마되 로라 마되 랑원이 주바 나와디 제제제데 가야 예만 봐디 디 동상의 예도 되네 동반이 세디 요 리기요 통과를
Having sought ourself within our physical aggregates and not having found it, the only other place to look is within our mental aggregates. And here we can and should analyze in a variety of ways. So we have many different minds, so let's take those of feeling. Sometimes a happy feeling arises, other times suffering feeling arises, other times neutral feelings. So immediately, just from their presentation, we can see none of these minds, the happy mind, the suffering mind, the neutral mind, can be my sense of self. Because these change. They're not unchanging. Moreover, they change independent on causes and conditions. So therefore, they are dependent. They're not independent. So therefore, our sense of self, the self that appears to be unchanging and independent, in other words, inherently existent, isn't to be found in any of these individual minds, such as happy feeling, suffering feeling, or neutral feeling. Doesn't exist in the way that it appears. But to gain ever more certainty of this, it's imperative then we search further through other minds, coming to see whether any of them is our sense of self, our I. And what about the subtler minds, the very subtle minds? Even those consciousnesses, they too change momentarily. There's none that can be found that is unchanging and independent. Because just like in the segment previous to this, we spoke about momentary change. Here, all our consciousnesses, including the subtlest ones, change moment by moment by moment. Therefore, they are not unchanging. And each moment is dependent on the preceding moment. So there's a relationship of dependency. And the future moments are to come is dependent on the present moment and the moments previous to that. So therefore, even the subtlest consciousnesses, these two are dependent. These two are changing. Here now in our meditation, we've investigated everywhere that the self could possibly be, and we find nothing. We don't find this unchanging, independent self at all. The self is empty of being unchanging, it's empty of being independent, it's empty of being inherently existent. This is when we realize emptiness of inherent existence. We've investigated, we couldn't find what we're looking for. We've come to realize the self does not exist in the way that it appears. It is empty of existing in the way that it appears. And in this way, one realizes emptiness. This meditation is imperative one engages in repeatedly over a sustained period, because the outcome is that one comes to realize that the self, whatever phenomenon one is investigating, does not exist in the way that it appears. It is empty of existing in the way that it appears. It's empty of inherent existence. And this is the cultivation of the wisdom that is realizing emptiness. And the stronger this wisdom is, the weaker the contrary mind becomes, the ignorance of self-grasping. And therefore it's imperative that one engages in this meditation repeatedly over a sustained period. The final step in the meditation then, when one has come to realize the self is empty of inherent existence, is that one pulls oneself back from the thought that this I does not exist at all, and realizes the I does exist, but how so? It doesn't exist in the way that it appears, because I've looked for it, and it's empty of existing in the way that it appears. But there is still a sense of self, and that sense of self is merely imputed by mind onto the aggregates. So therefore the self exists, but is not inherently existent. The self is an existent but not inherently existent. How does it then exist? As a mere imputation by mind onto the collection of the aggregates. And this is the I, or the self, that cultivates the various paths that progresses towards liberation and enlightenment. The self that is a mere imputation by mind, that exists merely as an imputation by mind.
I need you like I need you. Then I was Pumbo Ya Zotin, Ayala do you like just on Su Pumbo the Ganesh, Su Pumbo the Dutch and Ngadi teaching you like Rojana. And then I to get Sugi Pumbo, me, Sugi Pumbo, oh, they did call the dish allegro. Sugi Pumbo, Ngadi one is in Ngadi Tongo, and Toya got Sugi Pumbo Tongo, Sugi Pumbo Tonga. Oko de do la gora. Sui Pumbo de ma, Yeti Kuja did Oko de Shalagor. Just Manzu Louis Pumbo Telepa, Ko do, said Jedon Toya de Pumbo Tungore. Said the Pumbo Ton, Oko de do la gora. Jedon Gasa Pumbo Patagua. Jedon to him, young, so a devotion which saw a devotion on the sword part, Deva Yon, and then I give do la gora. So a Deva de la Mazanga, part, so a Deva del Tagore. I give to like dinner also, so a dewa del Tagore. Then I do Sugi Pumbo de Kubia, de Shanga, de Digu said, Sugi Pumbo Tagore. Then I saw a dewa, so a digi to devalate, and I devo do like so a patagore. So a dunga lady, not dunga, ganga do like and so a dunga patago. She's a Louis Patasha, Denish Tasha, Denish Daniel, so a dewa patas, and said again, de Dunyagi. Java Chigio, but the matter, she ain't del Matavachi lost your money. And then the kilos in that Arwa, Niman means you and I Ki Budon de Nabuchuna or Ki Nabutu Lassen. Ki Pundo de Gabuchuna, me Gabo, Ki Pundo Gabo, Ki Gabo do Lagor. She's a me de la Pundo Gabo, Pundo de Matungo Marina, Padelia, Le Tagorwa, Ki said Tagorwa.
This process of imputation is something that we do continuously. So just to give some illustrations that are easy to understand so that you can be aware of it in your everyday life. Tonight when you go home and you're tired, you lie down in bed, you go, oh, I am lying down in bed. So what is this I lying down in bed? Well, you're merely imputing the I on your physical aggregate, which is now flat on the bed. In the morning, the alarm goes off. One groggily sits up. Oh, now I'm up. And what we're doing then is we're imputing the sense of I onto our form aggregate, our body, which is now standing up. And when we're happy and we're in a good mood, we say, oh, I'm having a great day. I, the sense of I, is imputed onto this feeling of happiness. And if you're having a bad day, exactly the same. Oh, everything's terrible. We're imputing the sense of I onto the feeling of suffering. So this is just how we impute. And we don't just do it with ourselves, but with all objects. We go home and we see our pets. Let's say we see our dog and that the dog is black. We say, oh, there's my dog, and it's black. And we only say our dog is only called a black dog because of the color of its fur and that it's a dog, and therefore we impute black dog onto it. So we impute onto the object. And if the dog just happens to be the color white, have white fur, we would impute white dog onto that animal. And then we use this imputation continuously.
지상 기기 부디 차상 가보다 기나원이가 부디 차상 매봐서 장마 장자 세번에 디기가버는 기가르랍네 기부매기들이 샬라네 기나버를 말 기가버는.
If you take your dog for grooming and I don't know, the pet beautician gets carried away and returns your dog completely shaven, you're going to probably say, what happened to my beautiful white dog or my beautiful black dog? It's now bald. It no longer serves to be called a white dog or a black dog because it's a bald dog.
And that during the disity Sasha, then is the time of the during some Delia, that Jiggy, Kuno de Semja Tam, Jiggy Tunda, the Semja Tiki to the Duma Sir Kudu, she's a dean and Semja Tam San Yuko Toba Chickens and some star. The Semja Tamja San Yuko Tobala, then the Tony to be. Tawadi Komjenen, Jansim Yugunia, Tawadi Magombaina, Newman Pantumati, Tangedi, Tony Toy Donalia, and now Tony Jebachi, and Samloch, D. Dondain, some chance Jebachi, Chicken, some Bukulaki, that Jebachi de Langazuki, that's also a do station and said Lolia, Ganangudu, just a Nawana, Nayodu, Kalaya, Motiva Ranguni Tuba, Nadi, that Rashi Tuba Natan DDS, that the Nigi Louis Pa Shapala Matu, Koromini, Yobatilla, Rashi Tuba, Rashi Tuba Lagore. Just the Denisi Lola Nangudus, the Nawanashin, Takanish do, said the Shinga to Sheba Nashin, those in the summer tidy, that don't the Jeba Jebas, Chako, those in Azoke, some of the Yana Yadu Tawanda, who do stangy tangy, Jumzen, some tangy tangy Jebana, Nachulo, Pa, Sab Chugurua, and they do Shenan, or dealing Denisha, Sani Adinma, Chimodi.
In conclusion then tonight, I'm not going to recap what we've been looking at, but in brief, to say that the motivation to come to this class and to have again from tomorrow is that in order to be of greatest benefit to others, it's imperative we cultivate good qualities within us so that we can eventually achieve enlightenment. And to make this a reality, to become a Buddha for the sake of others, one has to cultivate love and compassion and many other qualities. But the wisdom realizing emptiness, this too is indispensable. In order to actualize any aspiration that we have to become a Buddha, one has to cultivate this wisdom realizing emptiness. And therefore, we need to receive these teachings and reflect on them. And if I can request those who want some homework, take some homework away with you. When you're walking out of here and driving home, just think, how does the self appear to my mind? What are the characteristics that it's supposed to have? So I've heard all phenomena appear inherently, so what does this mean? And we heard tonight that it means it's unchanging and it's independent. So look, try and get a feeling for how, if you can see how the self appears to us in such a way. And then investigate, look for it, try and find it in the way that was described earlier. And if one does this repeatedly over a sustained period, one will very quickly move through the meditation as described today, but then going down to subtler and subtler levels, gaining ever finer understanding of how the self appears, and still not being able to find it.
Thank
Thank you very much. Our time is well and truly up. Thank you.